If you're a man over 60 and you've been waking up feeling less fire, less sensation, less interest in the part of life that used to bring the most connection, it's not just getting older. It could be a silent warning, because what's really fading isn't just desire, it's blood flow. Tiny, delicate blood vessels in your most vital area, slowly narrowing, cutting off oxygen, and turning passion into a memory. Here's the truth most men never hear. Pills can't fix clogged vessels, but nature can if you give it the right tools. I'm Dr. Brian Carter. I've spent 35 years helping American men restore their vitality, and I'm here to show you what works. Not gimmicks, not promises, just 4 forgotten herbs that reignite circulation and bring back confidence from the inside out. Let's start by understanding what's really going on inside your body and why it's not your fault. Every week in my clinic, a man in his 60s or 70s walks in with the same quiet question. Is this it? Is this just what getting older feels like? He's not weak, he's not broken, but something's missing. He's sleeping fine, eating all right, maybe even exercising. But the spark, the one that made him feel powerful, connected, masculine, is fading. The truth is, the root of this loss isn't aging, it's circulation. By the time most men reach their late 60s, the smallest blood vessels in the body, especially those in the pelvic region, have started to close off. Not all at once. Slowly, quietly. These microvessels carry oxygen and sensation to the tissues that allow you to feel pleasure, energy, and connection. When they're clogged, your body doesn't respond. Your mind may still want it, your partner might still try, but the connection fizzles before it even starts. And here's what makes it more frustrating. Most mainstream solutions ignore this. They hand you a little blue pill that forces blood where it can't naturally go. It might work for a night, but not without side effects, not without strain, and not without hiding the real problem. But this isn't your fault. From processed foods to chronic stress, our modern lifestyle starves these vessels. Add in declining testosterone, and the combination can leave a man feeling invisible. You're not crazy, you're not alone, and you're definitely not past hope. Because here's what I've discovered in my practice in Austin, Texas, and in the lives of thousands of men across the country. When you give your body the right tools, natural, proven herbs that nourish circulation and balance hormones, you don't just regain function. You regain presence, that sharpness in your voice, that strength in your step, that quiet heat in your connection with your partner. And no, it's not about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming manhood on your terms. The journey back starts with a single decision: to stop settling for "this is just aging" and start restoring the fire from the inside out. Because the fire never truly leaves, it just needs fuel. In the next section, I'll introduce myself properly and tell you why I left conventional medicine behind to help older men rediscover the strongest, most capable version of themselves. And after that, we'll walk through the 4 herbs your body has been craving, each one selected not because it sounds trendy, but because it works. Stick with me. This may be the most important health message you've heard in years. Let me introduce myself properly. My name is Dr. Brian Carter, and for over 35 years, I've specialized in men's health, aging, vitality, and natural restoration. I wasn't always the guy who talks about herbs. I started out in traditional medicine, went to school at the University of Michigan, trained in internal medicine, then moved down to Austin, Texas, to set up my practice. Back then, I believed the pharmaceutical model had all the answers. I trusted that if a man had a problem, there was a pill to fix it. But somewhere around year 12, something shifted. It was the look on my patients' faces. I remember one man in particular, Carl, a 66-year-old retired high school coach. Strong guy, proud. He came in and said, "Doc, I'm not even sure why I'm here. I'm not sick, but I don't feel like me anymore. Something's fading, and I don't know how to stop it." We ran his labs. Normal. Blood pressure, good. Cholesterol, manageable. So I did what I was trained to do, prescribed a mild antidepressant and a little blue pill. 2 months later, He was back. Didn't help, he said. The pill worked once or twice, but I still feel empty, like I'm watching life instead of living it. That moment stuck with me because it wasn't just Carl. It was dozens, then hundreds of men strong, accomplished, intelligent men, quietly losing their sense of energy, connection, and purpose. They weren't asking for miracles. They just wanted to feel like themselves again. So I started asking different questions. Not just, what's your diagnosis? But, what's missing in your life? Where do you feel dull? What's changed in your connection with your body, with your partner, with yourself? That's when I discovered something medicine rarely teaches us: the power of circulation. I dove into research on microvascular health, natural vasodilators, and age-related endothelial decline. I studied how chronic stress chips away at testosterone, how poor diet clogs the very vessels that bring us pleasure, and how the emotional cost of this decline creates a ripple effect through a man's entire life. Then I found the herbs, not fads, not exotic powders sold on late-night television. I'm talking about time-tested botanicals that cultures around the world have used for thousands of years to restore male-strength herbs, now backed by modern science. Ginseng, horny goatweed, Ginkgo biloba, Tribulus terrestris. Each one targets a core pillar of male health: circulation, hormonal signaling, vascular integrity, and sexual confidence. I began testing protocols with my patients. Not one-size-fits-all approaches, but carefully sourced, properly dosed regimens tailored to men over 60. And the results? Life-changing. I've seen men in their late 70s look me in the eye with tears, saying, "You gave me back the part of myself I thought was gone." It's not magic, it's biology, and it works naturally, gently, and sustainably. So I left the conventional clinic. These days, I consult exclusively on natural men's health through my clinic in Austin and through this very channel because too many men are suffering in silence. And I don't want you to be one of them, because your best years don't have to be behind you. They can be right in front if you give your body what it's truly asking for. So let's get into the how. In the next section, I'll reveal the first of 4 herbs that kickstart circulation and reignite sensation in the places that matter most, starting with the one I call the spark plug of male vitality. Stick with me. It only gets better from here. Let's talk about what no one tells you after 60. The decline you're feeling, the tired mornings, the missing spark, the distant intimacy isn't a life sentence. It's a signal. Your body isn't broken. It's just been underfed. See, real male vitality doesn't come from forcing your system to perform like it did at 30. It comes from supporting what your body still wants to do: circulate blood, balance hormones, and restore your connection to life, touch, and confidence. But you won't find this support in the medicine cabinet, because pharmaceuticals are designed to treat symptoms, not restore systems. They push buttons. They override natural rhythms. They offer speed, not substance. That's why so many men try those solutions and still feel hollow, detached, or dependent. So what's the alternative? Nature. The natural world is filled with botanicals that don't just patch the surface, they nourish the foundation. And for older men, that means addressing 3 core issues: blood flow, especially to the smallest vessels that support sensation and response; hormone signaling, specifically testosterone, and the messages it sends to every system in your body; emotional presence, because intimacy doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins with feeling alive in your own skin. When you target these 3 areas with the right natural compounds, something shifts. Gradually, deeply, authentically. You don't just perform better. You feel better, warmer, clearer, more connected. And that's what the 4 herbs I'm about to share actually do. They don't hijack your system. They support it. They don't shout. They whisper in the language your body understands, and they don't offer a temporary fix. They offer a pathway back to wholeness. Let me be clear, this isn't a replacement for living well. You still need to eat clean, move your body, and manage your stress. But these herbs, they amplify those efforts. They make your healthy choices work harder. They wake up dormant systems, and they bring back the connection between your brain, your blood, and your body. Here's what's even more powerful. They're safe. When used correctly, in the right forms and doses, these herbs support your cardiovascular system, endocrine system, and even your emotional well-being without side effects or crashes. Now, I know some of you may be skeptical. Herbs? Really? That sounds like stuff from the health food aisle next to chia seeds and kale chips. I get it. I used to roll my eyes too until I watched these exact herbs turn around the lives of men who had tried everything else. Like Doug from Pittsburgh, 68 years old, 2 heart stents, and a marriage that had quietly gone cold. Within 2 months of using just 2 of these herbs consistently, his wife sent me a handwritten thank you note. It said, "I have my husband back. This isn't fluff, it's function." So in the next section, we're diving into herb number 1, the one I call the spark plug. It's the first domino in restoring circulation, energy, and even mental clarity. It's not a miracle, it's a catalyst. And if you've been feeling distant, dulled, or disconnected, it may be the exact fuel your body's been waiting for. Ready to find out what it is? Let's dive into American Ginseng and how it's helping men across the country wake up physically and emotionally all over again. Let's begin with the herb that often changes everything. First, the ignition key, the spark plug, American Ginseng. Now, most people have heard of ginseng. They've seen it in energy drinks or buried inside multivitamins that claim to do it all. But here's the truth. 99% of those products contain weak, generic forms that barely make a dent in your system. Real ginseng, clinically standardized American ginseng, is a powerhouse. And for men over 60, it may be the most important herb to restore what's quietly been slipping away: blood flow, vitality, and connection. Let me tell you why. Ginseng contains compounds called ginsenosides. These natural agents do something remarkable inside your body. They stimulate nitric oxide. That's the same molecule responsible for relaxing and opening your blood vessels, especially the smallest, most delicate ones, the microcapillaries in your pelvis. Think of nitric oxide like a traffic cop in your bloodstream. It tells your vessels when to expand so blood can move freely, bringing oxygen, sensation, and power to the places that matter most. As we age, our bodies stop making enough nitric oxide on their own. The vessels shrink, the flow slows, and we stop feeling. Not just physically, but emotionally too. American Ginseng reverses that. It tells the body, let's get moving again. I remember working with a man named Harold, 69 years old, retired mechanic from Milwaukee, sturdy guy, married to his high school sweetheart. He came into my office and sat down with a sigh that said more than words. "I'm still in love with her," he told me, "but it's like there's a wall between us. I just don't feel connected anymore, and I'm afraid she's starting to feel it too." His labs were decent. Heart, okay. Blood pressure, manageable. But when I asked him about circulation, he blinked. "I thought that was just about the heart," he said. I started him on a high-quality, Wisconsin-grown American ginseng extract, 600 milligrams in the morning, standardized to 5% ginsenosides. That's the clinical range where real change happens. 3 weeks later, Harold came back with color in his face and a look I'll never forget. Not excitement, but relief. "I feel like I woke up," he said. "Not just down there all over. I walk different. I think clearer." She noticed too. That's the power of real ginseng. It doesn't force arousal or mask symptoms. It restores circulation, the source of sensation, presence, and intimacy. But don't make the mistake of grabbing any bottle off a supermarket shelf. Most ginseng supplements are underdosed, overprocessed, and untested. You want American ginseng, not Siberian or Panax mixed with filler. Look for a standardized extract, 5% ginsenosides or higher, from a trusted U.S. grower, preferably Wisconsin or Ontario, where the soil still nurtures potency. Taken daily, it supports healthy endothelial function, That's the tissue lining your blood vessels. Stronger microcirculation in the pelvic region. Mental clarity and emotional responsiveness. Reduced fatigue and sharper energy without jitters. It's not just an energy herb. It's a blood flow catalyst. And for aging men, blood flow is everything. If you've been feeling distant, dull, or quietly frustrated with your body's lack of response, American Ginseng may be the beginning of your return to connection, confidence, and closeness. But we're just getting started. Because while ginseng starts the engine, the next herb, it keeps the fuel flowing, targeting the same enzyme as the little blue pill, but in a way that's sustainable, natural, and safe for older men. Ready to meet the next key in this natural formula? Let's talk about mountain goatleaf, better known as horny goatweed, and how it helps turn quiet frustration into steady vitality. I know the name makes most men smirk the first time they hear it. Horny goatweed sounds like something from a novelty store, not a doctor's clinic. But I'm here to tell you, don't let the name fool you. In my 35 years of working with men's health, this herb, traditionally known as epimedium, or what I like to call mountain goatleaf, has earned a permanent place in my protocol. Why? Because it works gently, consistently, and powerfully, especially for men over 60 who feel like the fire has gone out and they can't figure out why. Let's break it down. The magic of mountain goatleaf lies in a compound called icarin, and this is where it gets interesting. Icarin targets the same enzyme as many prescription erectile medications, PDE5, but unlike those medications, which deliver a sudden, often unpredictable jolt, icarin works in harmony with your body. It doesn't force performance. It nurtures it by gradually opening blood vessels, especially in the pelvic region, and allowing natural sensation to return. Think of it like this. American Ginseng kicks off circulation. Mountain goatleaf keeps that circulation steady, flowing, and responsive, especially when intimacy calls. This is critical for older men, because as we age, our blood vessels harden. They lose flexibility. The connection between desire in the brain and response in the body weakens. It's not that you don't want it, it's that your body can't deliver it like it used to. That's where mountain goatleaf shines. Let me tell you about Frank, a 73-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix. Rugged guy, still chopped his own wood. But he came into my clinic looking like someone had unplugged his soul. "It's not about performance," he said. "I just want to feel close again. I miss the warmth, the spontaneity. I miss holding my wife and actually feeling it." We started him on a horny goatweed extract, standardized to 10% icarin, 500 milligrams daily. I told him, "Give it 4 weeks. No pressure, no expectations. Just stay consistent." At his follow-up, he didn't say much. He just nodded, smiled a quiet smile, and said, "Doc." It came back. Not all at once, not in fireworks, but in warmth, in those early morning stirrings, in the touch of a hand that sparked something real again. That's what mountain goatleaf does. It doesn't manufacture desire, it restores the pathway to it. And there's more. Icarin also helps support testosterone levels naturally, while lowering cortisol, the stress hormone that slowly strangles libido. For men weighed down by financial worries, retirement anxiety, or emotional distance, that hormonal balance isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Used correctly, this herb supports improved pelvic blood flow, stronger responsiveness during intimacy, a gradual return of morning firmness, a boost in confidence and emotional connection. But don't make the mistake of grabbing a low-dose capsule at your local big box store. Most supplements are underpowered or mixed with filler herbs. You need a minimum 200 and 5,500 milligrams dose daily, standardized to at least 10% icarin, taken consistently, ideally in the morning. This isn't a quick fix. It's a quiet reboot, a steady return to feeling like yourself again, alive, capable, and connected. And for men who feel like they've faded into the background, that return is everything. But here's the twist. While mountain goatleaf works on major vessels and hormonal flow, The next herb I'll share goes even deeper. It restores microcirculation, the kind that matters not just for performance, but for emotion, sensation, and that unmistakable feeling of being present. Ready for that? Let's move on to a misunderstood botanical that's been in your cabinet before but probably never used for this. Next up, golden ginkgo, the forgotten flow booster. Most people think of ginkgo biloba as a brain supplement, something you take to remember where you left your car keys. But if you're a man over 60, here's what you don't know about this powerful ancient leaf. Ginkgo's true magic lies in what it does for your blood vessels, not just in your brain, but deep in your pelvic region, where blood flow determines everything from sensation to connection. That's why I call it golden ginkgo, because for many men, it's the golden key to unlocking not just memory, but intimacy. Here's how it works. As we age, our smallest blood vessels, the ones responsible for delivering oxygen and nutrients to the brain and the parts of your body that create physical pleasure, begin to deteriorate. They narrow, they stiffen, they clog, and unfortunately, these are the very vessels that most drugs don't help. That's where golden ginkgo shines. Ginkgo improves what doctors call microcirculation, the movement of blood through the tiniest capillaries. Think of it like clearing out old country backroads that haven't seen traffic in years. When those roads are open again, life flows where it couldn't before. It's not about performance. It's about feeling again, warmth, sensitivity, closeness. Let me tell you about Dennis, a 70-year-old Navy veteran from Norfolk, Virginia. Fit guy, loved fishing, never complained. But one day in my office he said, "Doc, I feel numb, not just physically, emotionally. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like I'm here, but I'm not here." His testosterone wasn't terrible. His heart was strong, but I knew what was happening. His circulation had faded quietly, slowly, over time. We added ginkgo biloba to his routine, 120 milligrams, twice a day of a standardized extract. At his 6-week follow-up, he didn't talk about intimacy first. He talked about energy. "I get out of bed with purpose now," he said. "I walk taller. My wife says I even look different." Then he paused. "But more than anything, I feel connected again. When she touches my hand, I feel it. That matters more than I ever realized." That's what ginkgo does. It reopens the smallest channels in your body, the ones responsible for the deepest connections. It brings oxygen, sensation, and emotional vitality back online. And here's the kicker. It's backed by research. Studies have shown that ginkgo improves blood flow, reduces inflammation, enhances nitric oxide production, and even helps men with erectile issues tied to poor circulation. No artificial stimulation, no racing heart, just a steady return to responsiveness. But like the other herbs we've talked about, quality and consistency matter. Here's what to look for. A standardized ginkgo extract, ideally 24% flavone glycosides and 6% terpene lactones. A clinical dose, 120 milligrams twice daily, sourced from a reputable supplement company with third-party testing. What you'll notice first may not even be physical. It might be clearer thoughts, better sleep, a sense of lightness in your chest. Then, something deeper, stronger, morning responses, a warmer feeling when your partner brushes your arm, the soft reawakening of desire without pressure. And that's worth more than any overnight fix. Because once blood is moving again, truly moving, you don't just get back your physical self, you get back your emotional presence, your ability to feel joy, closeness, even pride in who you are. But we're not done yet, because while golden ginkgo revives circulation and sensation, the next herb does something even more personal. It restores the hormonal signal that tells your body, you're still strong, you're still wanted, you still matter. And for many men, that's the missing piece that brings everything together. Let me show you how Desert Tribulus, the fourth and final herb, can help you feel truly alive again. If there's one thing I've learned after decades of working with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, it's this. When a man says, I don't feel like myself anymore. He's not talking about energy. He's talking about identity. That quiet, steady feeling of being grounded in your body, of knowing who you are and feeling confident in it, slowly fades when your hormones slip and circulation slows. And that's why the fourth herb in our natural restoration protocol is so critical. It's called Tribulus terrestris, but I call it Desert Tribulus, a raw, rugged plant that grows in the driest, harshest climates, yet somehow thrives. Just like the men I work with, this herb doesn't work by flooding your body with testosterone or messing with your internal systems. Instead, it works with your pituitary gland, the command center in your brain, to naturally increase something called luteinizing hormone. That hormone then tells your body to produce more natural testosterone, not synthetically, not in surges, but in a way your body remembers and responds to. Why is that so powerful? Because testosterone doesn't just impact libido, it affects everything. Your muscle tone, your energy levels, your mood and motivation, your sense of purpose and masculinity, and perhaps most importantly, your ability to feel present and emotionally connected to your partner. Let me tell you about Richard, a 75-year-old widower from Cincinnati. He came to me a little nervous, a little reserved. He had just started dating again after the loss of his wife, and he wasn't sure he was still capable. He said, "I'm not looking to be 25 again. I just want to feel like me when I hold her hand." We started small Tribulus terrestris, 500 milligrams a day, standardized to 45% saponins. It's that active ingredient, the saponins, that do the real work. 6 weeks later, Richard walked into my clinic with a spring in his step I hadn't seen before. He said, "Doc, I didn't think it was possible. I thought that chapter was over. But now, I feel alive, not younger, just here." And that's exactly what Desert Tribulus offers. It's not about turning you into someone you're not. It's about helping you remember who you still are, a man with strength, desire, and a deep need for connection. Tribulus also supports improved blood flow, especially in the pelvic region, enhanced libido without overstimulation, increased stamina and recovery, a more stable, positive mood. For men who've spent too long in quiet frustration, this herb often marks the turning point, the moment where you stop just existing and start re-engaging with life. But, again, not all supplements are created equal. Here's what matters. Look for Tribulus standardized to at least 40–45% saponins. Take 500–750 milligrams daily, ideally in the morning with food. Stay. Consistent change happens steadily, not overnight. Some men notice better sleep, more motivation, or a feeling of waking up inside the first few weeks. Others feel it more subtly, like confidence, quietly returning to their voice, or a lightness returning to their mood. Either way, what you're feeling is this: your body responding, your hormones listening, and your identity, the strong, loving, capable man inside you, re-emerging. Now that we've covered all 4 herbs, each one supporting blood flow, hormonal balance, and emotional vitality, it's time to bring it all together. Because the real transformation doesn't come from using one of these tools. It happens when they work together like a team. Let's go there next. Let's pause for a second and connect the dots. You've just met 4 powerful herbs, each with its own role, its own rhythm, and its own way of helping your body come back to life. American Ginseng, the spark plug that ignites blood flow. Mountain Goatleaf, horny goatweed, the circulation booster that keeps the fuel flowing. Golden Ginkgo, the microcirculation restorer that revives sensation and presence. Desert Tribulus, the hormonal whisperer that tells your body you're still a man, strong, capable, alive. Individually, these herbs are powerful, but together, they create a synergy that's more than the sum of their parts. Let me explain. 1. They work on different levels of the same system: blood flow, hormones, sensation, energy. They're not separate. They're deeply connected. Ginseng opens up the major highways of blood flow. Goatweed targets the key enzymes that regulate pelvic response. Ginkgo dives into the smallest backroads, making sure even the tiniest vessels get oxygen again. Tribulus rebuilds the signals that regulate libido, mood, and confidence. They're like four musicians playing in harmony: circulation, hormone balance, vascular flexibility, emotional warmth, all tuned to the same frequency. Your vitality, too. They help each other work better. Ginseng primes your system for nitric oxide production. Goatweed helps sustain that effect by inhibiting PDE5. Ginkgo improves oxygen delivery to make that nitric oxide more effective. Tribulus ensures your hormonal state supports the whole process. Each herb enhances the others gently, naturally, and steadily. 3. They don't just target performance, they restore wholeness. Let's be honest, for most men, the issue isn't just performance. It's that creeping feeling of disconnection. Disconnection from your body, disconnection from your partner, disconnection from that fire inside that once made you feel grounded and alive. These herbs help you reconnect. They restore flow, yes, but they also restore feeling, that sense of warmth, that confidence in your step, that subtle lift when you look in the mirror and see someone who's not fading but returning. 4. They support the long game. Prescription meds often offer a spark with a cost: headaches, pressure, dependency, artificial stimulation. These herbs, they support the long game. No spikes, no crashes, no side effects that make you question if it's worth it. Just consistent, cumulative restoration of the systems you've quietly needed all along. And best of all, this protocol works with the healthy habits you're already building. Eating better, you'll absorb more of these nutrients. Walking daily, these herbs amplify the benefit. Sleeping deeper, that's a natural side effect of restoring hormonal balance. This isn't about magic pills or overnight miracles. It's about giving your body the tools it's been whispering for, the kind of support that doesn't scream, but strengthens. I've seen it in hundreds of men. When they commit to this blend thoughtfully, consistently, something beautiful happens. Not a radical transformation, not a total reinvention, just a steady return to the man they once were, and still are, because he's still there. Now that you've seen how these 4 herbs work in concert: circulation, performance, sensation, and hormone signaling, it's time we step into the final message. Because this isn't just about herbs. It's about your belief in what this next chapter of life can be. Let me remind you of something most people forget to say. You're not done. You're not broken. You're not invisible. Let's talk about what happens when you stop settling and start reclaiming. Let me speak to the part of you that might still be unsure. The part that's thinking, maybe this all sounds good, but is it too late for me? Let me say this clearly, from one man to another, and as someone who has worked with thousands of men across this country: you're not done. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. You haven't missed your window. What's happening to you isn't weakness, it's physiology. It's a slow drift caused by time, stress, modern living, and silence. And the truth is, it's not your fault. No one prepared us for this part of life. They taught us how to chase success, provide for others, get the job done, but they never taught us how to preserve ourselves, our energy, our vitality, our connection to our own bodies. So we quietly fade, slowly, a little each year, until one day a man looks in the mirror and doesn't recognize the version of himself looking back. But here's the part that gives me hope every day. That spark never dies. It just gets covered up by years of noise, poor circulation, hormonal shifts, emotional weight, and false stories about what getting older means. The men who walk into my clinic and decide to take even one step toward restoration, they change. Not overnight, not with fireworks, but they start walking taller, breathing deeper, living more fully. They stop hiding behind routine. They stop apologizing for needing closeness. They stop settling for a dull, disconnected version of life. And most importantly, they stop believing that intimacy, connection, and feeling like a man are things reserved for their past, because they're not. I've seen men in their 60s reopen the door to intimacy after a decade of silence. I've seen men in their 70s reignite emotional warmth with their partners. I've seen men in their 80s, yes, 80s take up new relationships with joy, confidence, and vitality they thought was long gone. This isn't about pretending to be younger. It's about owning who you are right now with clarity, warmth, and quiet strength. So, here's my invitation to you. Don't just let this video be information. Let it be the starting line. One change, one bottle, one conversation with your partner, one walk around the block with a little more pride in your step, one decision to believe even just a little that something inside you still burns, because it does. And when you support your body with the right tools, natural, proven, time-tested, you don't just get back function, you get back presence. The feeling that you're here not just watching life pass by, but participating in it. So if you've felt invisible, disconnected, or unsure, let this be your reminder. You're still a man, you're still needed, and you're far from done. Let's wrap this up with one final message. A reminder, really, that your body is still speaking. It just needs you to listen. If you've stayed with me this far, I want you to take a moment right now and recognize what that means. It means something inside you is still listening, still curious, still alive. And that, my friend, is where transformation begins. You've heard the stories. You've learned how circulation, hormones, and microvessels all play a role. You've been introduced to 4 herbs that have helped thousands of men just like you, reclaim their presence, their warmth, their spark. So let me leave you with this. This chapter of your life doesn't have to be a slow decline. It doesn't have to be quiet or invisible. It doesn't have to be about just getting by. It can be the most connected, most real, most grounded chapter yet, because now you understand what most men never hear. That intimacy doesn't end at 60. That strength isn't about youth. And that passion doesn't retire when your job does. It fades only when we stop giving our body what it truly needs and start believing the lie that we're no longer meant to feel alive. You don't need a miracle. You don't need a secret potion. You need support. Real, natural, biological support that speaks the same language as your aging body. And now, you know where to find it. American Ginseng, to open your blood vessels and reignite desire. Mountain Goatleaf, to maintain healthy flow and boost your confidence. Golden Ginkgo, to awaken forgotten sensation and mental clarity. Desert Tribulus, to restore the signal that says, you're still here, you're still strong, you're still a man. These herbs don't scream. They don't spike your system or make you crash. They restore slowly, naturally, deeply what you've quietly missed. And once that blood begins to flow again, once your body starts remembering who it is, once you feel your strength rise not in pressure, but in presence, everything begins to change. The way you walk, the way you look at your partner, the way you see yourself. So, if this message meant something to you, don't let it fade. Take action. Try one of the herbs. Talk to your doctor. Have the conversation with your partner you've been avoiding. Or just sit quietly tonight and say to yourself, I'm not done. Because you're not. You're not broken. You're not past your prime. You are not meant to spend the rest of your years fading. You're meant to feel, to connect, to love, to live. And if you agree, if even part of this message stirred something in you, then let me know in the comments below. Type, I'm not done. Let the world see you. Let yourself hear it. And maybe, just maybe, you'll inspire another man who needed to hear the same thing. Hit the like button if this spoke to you. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because we've got more health tips coming just for men like you. And remember, you're not alone. You still have time, strength, and fire inside of you. This isn't the end. It's a new beginning, and the best part might still be ahead.